So a lot of excitement, obviously, around Los Angeles hosting the Super Bowl. There's also concerns in some sectors over something pretty horrific that tends to increase around big events like this. Human trafficking. Many groups are trying to raise awareness to try and protect the vulnerable, including the folks at the Teen Project with PSAs like this one.
Unfortunately, this great event is targeted by traffickers as an opportunity for financial gain. Traffickers prey on our most vulnerable children, foster children, and runaways. I hope you will join us in the fight against trafficking. Know the signs.
If you see someone in trouble, call 911. We're doing our part to help the most vulnerable children in America. Please do yours.
The time for talk is over.
Joining us now to talk more about this, Lori Burns. She is the fabulous CEO of the Teen Project, and she has been with us before. And, in fact, I remember you, Lori, sounding the alarm about Super Bowl back when we first talked. And we're going to talk about that in a second because it is super important. But before we do that, hi, my darling. How are you?
Hi.
And I just want to dispel some myths, right? And we do this each time we talk to you because I think people are still sort of using these outdated ideas about human trafficking, right? First of all, that they think it only happens overseas, boats full of people being trafficked off the coast in other far-flung places. Separate the fact from the fiction for us.
Right. Unfortunately, today, a lot of the trafficking is happening online. I don't know if people are aware, but in 2020, 59% of trafficking online occurred on Facebook, and it concerns me that 70% of our kids are on Instagram right now using filters and posting pictures of themselves that make them look older. And I constantly tell parents, you need to track your kids online. And their answer to me is, I don't want my kids to think that I don't trust them. It's not the kids we don't trust. It's the picture of the little boy that's not actually a little boy. And if you're not taping it with a keylogger, you can't roll back the tape if something happens.
Exactly.
So I just want parents to be so concerned about who's watching your children.
You know, you make a really good point that if you're not tracking them, you can count on the fact that somebody else is, and not somebody that you want doing that.
Correct.
So that's part of it, right? Is the trafficking that's going on in social media and online, and then how it translates to the real world, right? Out in public, under, like, kind of in plain sight.
So I don't know if you saw this story on Fox last week with Simone, and I got to tell you, when we found that 16-year-old on the 110, Tiana Theus, and to find out she was a victim as well, it just plunged a knife into my heart. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. It's just happening right under our eyes. And Simone was trafficked with her mom in the makeup store. They got into a fight, and the trafficker approached her and said, you don't have to go through this anymore. Mom ditched her and drove off, but came back. But by that time, she already had the trafficker's number. A couple weeks later, she was trafficked. Luckily, her mom and her brothers saved her. But that's not always the case. As a matter of fact, that's rarely the case.
It is rarely the case, isn't it?
Yes, we had a board member that was working with us that called me one day and said, Lori, you need to come to my house. My kid got a job and I'm concerned. There's a lot of money in her room. We tracked her, and she had been trafficked by someone that was 9 years ago. And this is a regular businesswoman who's helping with a human trafficking place. So just keep your eyes open.
You gotta just really fine-tune your antenna in your gut, right? On what, because what you just said some things there. People who you wouldn't expect, a businesswoman in the area, and it's just a job. You'll feel safer around maybe a female. You'll feel safer around a person that's the same age as your kid. You're not gonna, you gotta take these images of what you think a trafficker looks like out of your head.
Right, the traffickers use women to recruit others. They're called the bottom, and it's the girl that's been with them the longest and the most compliant, and they will use that girl to get the other girls.
And I know what you said during the PSA, and I know this for the work that I do with at-risk youth and foster kids. Foster kids, especially the ones that age out of foster care and are in that really vulnerable transition time. Runaways who have been fleeing an unstable, unsafe home life. These traffickers know to target these vulnerable young people.
Yes, it's horrific. They are prey every day that they're out there, and they may be escaping a violent situation, but going to a much more violent situation. And without the Amber Alerts for foster kids, it's just devastating. I don't know if you saw around Super Bowl this year, we had a whole LA task force, and then I saw this morning that 2,500 LAPD and sheriffs are out on quarantine because of COVID.
I know.
Yeah. So we're partnering with Saved in America, which is Navy SEALs and Raider Marines, the elite division on the street, feet on the street for Super Bowl with the app, and we're going out to rescue the girls.
And it's called Safe. It's Safe Site, which is the app that is there and can be used to help women who are finding themselves in trouble. And there's great resources there. What can the average person, the average Rams fan who might be at the stadium, what can people who are participating in any of the Super Bowl events, what can they, look, we don't want a bunch of vigilantes out there, but what should they consider a red flag? What should they keep an eye out for?
Well, I think if you see a girl alone or, not with a crowd of people, just alone, and they're at hotels too, they're around Super Bowl. I think, and especially for us, for girls that have been out there and had no one to call and were desperate, even if she looks professional, even if she looks happy, look into her eyes. I know you remember the airline flight attendant that saw a girl that looked like she might have been in danger, and she left a note in the bathroom. So anything you can do to communicate, are you okay?
Okay. Lori Burns, we're just so lucky that you're out there advocating for these vulnerable girls and women. Thank you for the work you're doing, and it's our pleasure to be able to tell more people about the Teen Project. foxla.com/links, all the information you need. Lori, keep up the great work. Keep your eyes peeled, folks. We'll be right back.
Grateful for you covering us. Thank you.
Absolutely. You know I got you, darling. Thank you.
Okay.